remember I was saying that the purposes of these red and white cells are opposite. Opposite colors, opposite purpose. Red is about feeding the tissues of the body with oxygen and nutrients. White is about fighting. Feeding versus fighting, nurturing versus protecting. It's about creation versus destruction. Building things versus breaking things, right? Lots of different ways to say it because I'm going to use these different words for different mnemonics and connections and stuff. So these opposite types of cells are very important. Your blood is the most important thing in your body. Blood is the most important organ system, quote unquote, because blood affects every other organ system. That's why you learn about heme before you do any of the other organ systems in your pathology class at Brody. Heme is first, then you do renal, then cardio, pulm, neuro, psych, MSK, derm, and all that stuff. GI, nutrition. Heme comes first because blood is where it all begins and ends. It's the most important thing. Your blood is you. That's why when something goes into your blood, we call it absorption. It absorbs into your body. It absorbs into you. When something comes out of your blood, we call that secretion. Doesn't matter if it's going into your pee, if it's going into your your lungs to breathe it out, if it's going into your GI tract to poop it out, it doesn't matter. Anytime something is leaving your blood, we call it secretion, secrete, which means to get it out. That's because your blood is you. All the other stuff, your freaking tubes running around your body, your trachea, your bronchus, and your GI tract, and your whatever, those are not you. Those are just like things that are leading out into the outside world. You are your blood. That's why we look at patients' blood sodium levels, blood glucose levels, blood potassium levels, etc., okay? It's all about the blood, most important thing. So I say all that to say this is why this middle category of vascular is so important, because it has to do with things that run inside a person's blood. Those things affect every part of the body. What I'm also saying is, I went on a rant, but red versus white, it applies here too. Inflammation versus neoplasia. Inflammation is about what? Destruction. That's what literally inflammation is. Destroying things, right? White blood cells. White. Neoplasia is about what? New growth. It's about growing, building. The tumor grows and builds itself, and it consumes nutrients to do that. So it's about red blood cells. Red. Feed those blood cells, literally feed the tumor. So that's why one of the ways to kill a cancer is to cut off its blood supply so that it cannot keep feeding itself. You have that bevacizumab that stops the VEGF and stops the tumor from being able to get blood vessels, to grow blood vessels, to keep bringing blood to itself. So just like you have red versus white in this very important dichotomy of blood cells, you have this neoplasia versus inflammation in the most important dichotomy in all of pathology. So those things map onto each other. Destruction versus new growth. Breaking things versus building things. Okay, even though you're building a bad thing in neoplasia.